Another week, boys, and another TWAB. This week in Destiny, we're getting ready for our next developer stream. These things take time. So we're also telling you all about one of the biggest systematic changes we are introducing with the Edge of Fate. It's a topic that you may not have heard about yet, so get ready for it. And for the rest of our weekly topics, of course. So save the date. All dungeons in Rite of the 9. Introducing additive melee damage. Exotic armor tuning preview. Last call for the final shape Bungie rewards. Now tune in to our next developer stream. Join us Tuesday, June 24th at 10 a.m. Pacific as we give an in-depth look at the Edge of Fate. We'll have the dev team on the floor ready to share many details about Armor 3.0 and the new ability stats system to show you some new weapons and more. That's next week, everybody. Everyone watching our developer stream on the Bungie Twitch channels for at least 15 minutes and with their Bungie ID linked will earn the Astromancy emblem as a Twitch drop. Oh, let's go, baby. All right, look, Bungie, you got to be bringing it, okay? Now is the time. We want to be overwhelmed. We need that moment, okay? This needs to be, look. I don't think it's going to be this, but it needs to be the beginning of the hype train. All right, I'm just gauging the hype. I'm just gauging it around everywhere, and it just seems a little low. This stream, we need to walk out of this stream going, hot damn it, they back, baby. They cooking right now. All right, Rite of the 9 continues. Guardians, the emissary of the 9 still requires your attention. After making all dungeons available last week and turning on increased rewards for them, we are entering a new Rite of the 9 cycle. All dungeons remain active and can be played at players' leisure, but only one of them has increased rewards active, so you can go back and farm for resources and weapons if you're still chasing some of them. We have another update coming on July the 1st. The emissary will start giving away non-nary Ingrams that are filled to the brim with hand-picked cosmetic rewards spanning multiple years of Destiny 2 content. Some are newer, like chips, and others are a blast from the past like Crimson Days emotes. Check the calendar below so you don't miss anything that's coming. So until June 24th, increased currency drops will be active for all dungeons. From June 24th, all dungeons are available, and one will have increased currency rewards and a chance for weapons to drop from enemy kills, as well as increased loot from the final boss chest when completing all encounters in the featured dungeon. Week of the June 24th, Spire of the Watcher. Week of July 1st, Goes to the Deep. Week of July 8th, Prophecy. Now starting June 24th, the emissary will offer a handful of exotics for players looking to round out their exotic weapon arsenal. More will be added each week through the Edge of Fate launch. Now from July 1st to July 15th, players can earn non-nary Ingrams. Starting July 1st, players may purchase non-nary Ingrams using 350 non-nary manifolds at the emissary, up to 20 during Rite of the 9. Starting July 8th, players will be awarded one additional non-nary Ingram each day just for signing in. Just be sure to claim it from the emissary. And then from July 8th until July 15th, Lootapalooza will begin. Increased currency rewards and weapon drops from enemies in all dungeons. Even more increased loot from the final boss chest when completing all encounters. Guys, for the love of God, please be excited about Rite of 9. Bungie's like, please play this activity. Now, melee damage is changing in the Edge of Fate. Hello there, this is the Destiny 2 Sandbox team, ready to talk about one of the most significant systematic overhauls coming with the Edge of Fate: additive melee damage stacking. The short version is almost all sources of increased melee damage are buffed, all sources of increased melee damage stack at full efficiency in PvE, and we are using additive damage increase calculation for melee damage. I smell a butt right now. I haven't even read the rest of this. I smell a butt coming. How melee damage worked in the past. Currently in Destiny 2, most sources of increased damage in Destiny 2 are multiplicative. Two hypothetical 50% damage increases, a 1.5 times increase in damage, are multiplied together for a total of 125% or 2.25 multiplier. This approach to damage increases has some problems like fun. That's a problem. That's, you know, who wants to fist their enemies? For one, the more damage increasing effects applied at a time, the more powerful they all become, which means that the best builds and strategies can start to revolve around simply having as many buffs as possible. Give me skill gap. This is the pattern we saw in Destiny 2 prior to the mutually exclusive empowering damage buff systems for weapons. Additionally, balancing the game becomes more and more difficult the more sources of increased damage we add. We do not want to have to choose between bosses being one-shot by players who are stacking as many buffs as possible, or bosses feeling like bullet sponges to players who are not. Look, this is so bad, man. Oh, this is so bad. I literally called this out earlier this week. I said, what if Bungie is actually going to nerf our damage? That way they can buff it with us stacking into 200 stat distributions. Keep reading. All right, I'm gonna keep reading. How melee damage will work now. When the Edge of Fate is released on July 15th, melee damage increases in Destiny 2 will be additive. That means two hypothetical 50% damage increases will be added together for a total of 100% damage increase. Now, this does result in lower damage ceiling for melee abilities, and it is unlikely that most bosses will ever be one-shot with melee abilities going forward. But because we do not need to worry about someone stacking these melee buffs and trivializing most content in the game, we can do two very cool things. We are buffing almost all effects that increase melee damage, some of them by double the damage they do now. In PvE, melee damage increasing effects always stack at full value if applicable. Our goal with these changes is to make much easier to create a personalized build that works the way you want. Many potential combinations of melee abilities and build crafting items are now much stronger than they were. We are very excited to see what melee builds y'all cook up in the Edge of Fate with these new changes. We are buffing almost all effects that increase melee damage, some of them by double the damage. Now, what I am concerned about with this change is what if this is the beginning? What if we're going to see some supers get nerfs? Why? To make way for the increase in super damage from 200 stat distributions. Listen, I'm just throwing it out there, guys. I'm a little concerned. That's all. Let's continue. I know Bungie's telling me they're trying to whisper in my ear. They're fucking this ear hole and they're whispering in this ear, telling me it's all going to be fine. Maybe it will. Systematic updates. In this new system, every effect that increases melee damage has been converted to use additive damage stacking. Every time that has been changed as part of this has been listed below with a single exception. The new melee stat introduced with Armor 3.0 increases the damage of melee abilities when going over 100 points up to an extra 30% at 200 stats. Yes, that's right. The damage bonus provided by the stat is considered to be an increase to the base damage of a player's melee attack and abilities and is multiplicative with other damage increases. In short, if you're putting together a melee build, you want to get your melee stat as high as possible. Okay. All right. Hold up. No. This one is multiplicative. Additionally, melee damage no longer scales scorch and ignition damage generated by melee attacks. The logic behind this change is similar to the logic underlying the jolt damage scaling changes we made a while back. We think it's healthier for elemental verbs to have a consistent effect regardless of the source that applied them. We have opted for more targeted changes here, and Incinerator Snap and Consecration Slam remain powerful options both as a centerpiece abilities in melee-focused builds and as potent damage-focused tools in other builds. Brother, our melee builds just got fisted in a bad way. Consecration is worse now. Yeah, Bungie really, they're trying, so look, they're adding value to 200 stat builds by making that multiplicative, but they're absolutely fucking everything else. You know what I mean? I'm talking elbow deep shit right now. Play how you want, but not that way. That's right. Oh my God. About glaives. As part of our melee overhaul, we are revisiting the role of glaives in the sandbox. We would like glaives to find a more permanent home in melee-focused builds, where they provide a defensive tool to help you close in on your targets and a faster and more potent unpowered melee ability than Guardians would have otherwise. That's right, glaive melee is considered an unpowered melee ability in the Edge of Fate. Anything that increases the strength of unpowered melee abilities will now increase the strength of glaive melees, including the melee stats. This does come at a cost. While glaives have a much clearer role and have a higher damage ceiling, we need to reduce their base melee damage in PvE to bring it more in line with an unpowered melee attack. But even after these changes, glaive melees have a much higher damage per second output than unpowered melee attacks do. Well, no fucking shit. It's a glaive! In short, if your build relies on unpowered melee damage, glaives will be the best way to increase your unpowered melee DPS even further. Glaive melee is now considered to be a type of unpowered melee ability. They now receive melee damage increases at full effect in all cases where an unpowered melee ability would, including the damage increase from Sithicep's knockout, offensive bulwark, combination blow, spark of feedback, warm god, caress, banner of war, stylus, executioner. Glaive melee now triggers all effects that are triggered by any melee ability. They will no longer benefit from some weapon damage bonuses, such as Radiant, as it's no longer weapon damage. Effects that modify the behavior of basic melee attacks, such as the Titan Aspect knockout that changes the basic melee attacks from kinetic to arc, will not affect the behavior of glaive melees. That sucks. Glaive melee damage in PvE has been adjusted to compensate for their increased access to melee damage increased effects. Glaive melee damage against minors and majors has been reduced by 40%. Oh, God. Glaive melee damage against champions and mini-bosses has been reduced by 28.5%. Glaive melee damage against bosses and vehicles has been reduced by 50%. Okay, so let me understand this correctly. Glaive melee damage in PvE has been adjusted to compensate for their increased access to melee damage increasing effects. All right, let's start from the top. The best glaive builds involve what? Worm God Caress. Right? You use Worm God, you get big buffs going, and you go to Pound Town. That's getting shit on. Like, even with the multiplicative damage increase from 200 stats, you're still, that's of 30%. Isn't that still overriding? These nerfs are overriding that buff. Wait until you read the percentage increase later before you say it's horrible. Let's take a look. Hold on. I'm hoping. 6 is your fucking ass. Let me tell you something. 6, if I am not bricked up by the end of this TWAB, your ass is gone. Below, check out the list of melee changes we have made to abilities, exotic armor pieces, and weapon perks so they could shine in the new system. Be mindful that this list does not cover all the sandbox tuning plans we have for the Edge of Fate, just the melee focused ones. We are covering exotic armor changes in the section below, and we'll share everything about weapons abilities in future to it. Okay. All right. Ability changes for melees. Classes, prismatic, fast of courage, PvE melee damage bonus increased from 10 to 50%. What the fuck? Arc. Spark of feedback. PvE melee damage bonus increased from 75 to 100%. Now works with Glaive melee at full effect. PvE melee damage bonus is no longer decreased when used with Syntheseps, Liar's Handshake, Knockout, Worm God Caress, 1-2 Punch, or Winter's Guile. Okay, interesting. All right. Bungie, why are you kidding me with all the bad stuff first? All right. Why you what you doing? What is this emotional roller coaster I'm on right now? Titan, Roaring Flames, maximum PvE melee damage bonus increase from 73 to 200%. Good God. As a note, Roaring Flames increases solar ability damage, and Glaive melee is always. We have opted to follow the rules as written for this one for now, so Roaring Flames does not scale Glaive melee damage. Okay. Melee damage bonus against is no longer decreased when used with Peregrine Greaves, Worm God Caress, 1-2 Punch, or Syntheseps. Interesting. So maximum PvE melee damage bonus. Oh, good God, brother. That's wow. Now, Knockout. PvE uncharged melee damage bonus increased from 100 to 160%. PvE charged melee damage bonus increased from 50 to 160%. Increased melee damage now works with Glaive melee at full effect. Oh, we gonna be cooked. Okay. All right. Bungie, look. They put all the bad stuff on the front end, which made it look way worse. Offensive Bulwark. PvE melee damage bonus increased from 100 to 160%. Increased melee damage now works with Glaive melee at full effect. Melee damage bonus no longer decreased when used with Syntheseps. And Banner of War. Melee damage bonus for users and allies increase from 40 to 100%. Melee damage bonus no longer decreased when used with Worm God Caress, Syntheseps, or Glaive melee damage. The damage bonus provided to Blade Fury's melee attacks is unchanged. Hot. Damn it, brother. Now listen, understand, these are not multiplicative, so we're gonna have to run the numbers, all right? It's additive now, but it's multiplicative on the stat distribution. Overall, this should net out to be more damage. It's what it should be. And Banner Titan should be back in a big way. Bonk should be back too. Now, Hunter, Stylus Executioner. PvE melee damage bonus increased from 200 to 300%. Now works with Glaive melee at full effect. Now works with every melee ability if the ability makes contact while you're leaving invisibility. In other words, projectile melee abilities like Threaded Spike will benefit from the damage increase if you're using it at point blank. Combination Blow. Maximum PvE damage bonus increased from 309 to 400%. Increased melee damage now works with Glaive melee at full effect. Now works with Ascension and PvE at full effect. Now works with Grapple melee and PvE at full effect. It seems we're all going to be fisting enemies in Edge of Fate. Ascension's going to clear. That it is. Bro, I'm confused. The main takeaway is this. Bungie f***ed us, and then they made love to us afterwards. Okay? That's the point. It got better, and it's gonna work out the best for us going Edge of Fate. We're gonna be doing more damage. That's the main takeaway to this. You're gonna be doing more damage. I will say it started off so bad. I'm not gonna lie, guys. Dude, that TWAB started off so bad. It makes you almost who knows? A less patient man would have closed out this TWAB and given up. Exotic armor changes. Hunter, Artist Embrace. These fucking things. PV weighted knife damage bonus increased from 200 to 300%. Liar's Handshake and Spirit of the Liar. PV basic melee and arc melee damage increased from 200 to 400%. Good God, brother. Dude, these are some crazy numbers. This is some crazy numbers, dude. Ophidius Spade, maximum PV throwing damage bonus increased from 100 to 200%. It's really nice. Trident Vice, PV Glaive melee damage bonus increased from 100 to 200%. Thank God. It needed that. I love the projectile, and I think, that's really what makes that exotic stand out, but it needed more melee damage. All right, Titan, Heart of Inmost Light, maximum PV melee damage increased from 20 to 50%. Now increases the damage of empowered and Glaive melee abilities. Okay, Peregrine Greaves, shoulder charge ability impact damage bonus against non-champion, non-tormentor, and non-mini-boss targets increased from 363 to 400%. Okay. Syntheseps and Spirit of Syntheseps, melee damage bonus is unchanged at 165%. Melee damage bonus is no longer decreased when used with combination blows, Stylus Executioner, and Glaive melee. Damage bonus is still decreased against players when used with Lightning Surge. Okay, for Spirit. Yeah, Spirit. All right, Wishful Ignorance. Maximum PV Frenzy Blade melee damage bonus increased from 100 to 200%. Let's fucking go, baby. Let's fucking go. Maximum PV Fletcher's Storm melee damage bonus increased from 50 to 200%. Let's fucking go. This right here. Everyone, get your favorite Fletcher's Storm build right now. You are going to be fucking working with this. Do you not realize you could already clear a room? Now you're gonna annihilate every fucking room of enemies. That's just gonna be so hot. And look, as someone who recently we actually quit doing our build battle because we were playing with the Fletcher Storm build and it just wasn't fucking enough. It wasn't good enough. Wishful ignorance though, Fletcher Storm is gonna be so hot. It's such a fun look. The gameplay loop is one of the best, man. Like, truly is one of the best. The animation, you're up in the air, you're slinging melees. It's one of the best. All right, Worm God Caress, maximum PV melee damage bonus increased from 275 to 400%. What in the world, dude? There ain't no way, Bungie. There ain't no way. Look, we got to start getting pre-testing right now. I don't trust these numbers. I don't trust these numbers. No. We're going to test these. We're going to test everything on Greg, pre versus post. There's no way Bungie's shipping these numbers out. I'm calling cap on this. No. When this rolls out, we better see these numbers reflected. Bungie, I made the comment that you guys should just lie. I'm concerned with these changes right here because I'm thinking that there's no way in hell y'all are going to actually ship this. Melee damage is no longer decreased when using Roaring Flames or Glaive melees. All right, Warlocks, Winter's Guile. Maximum PV melee damage bonus increased from 275 to 400%. Isn't it funny that Winter's Guile won't get the Worm God treatment? Now, that's nice. It's nice, but you guys still don't get the Worm God treatment. You don't believe that shit? If they ever gave it to y'all, that would be great. No, seriously, if they ever gave it to y'all, that'd be wonderful. Warlocks only got one buff. That's hilarious, dude. Yeah. When you play Titan, play Hunter. That's all I can say. I told y'all. I knew before we even got to the Warlock section. You wanna fist enemies? Titan and Hunter. This ain't y'all, man. Y'all healers, dude. Y'all healers. Sit back there with your support auto. All right, weapon changes. Weapon perks. Close to melee. PV Glaive melee damage bonus increased from 30 to 60%. Nice. 1-2 punch. PV melee damage bonus increased from 100 to 150%. Dude, this is crazy. Now works with all melee abilities. Melee damage bonus no longer decreased when used with Liar's Handshake. Oh my god. Increase the time the perk is active to 3 seconds. Oh my god. No, they did not. Brother. Double fisting is back on the menu. Yes, indeed. Double fisting is back on the menu. Exotic weapons. Bastion. Saint's Fist PV damage bonus. Melee damage bonus increased from 100 to 300%. Lord. Dude, Bastion is actually good. We played a build with Bastion here recently. Actually pretty nice. This is crazy though. Now it works with all melee abilities. Increase the time the perk is active to 3 seconds. Monte Carlo. Catalyst melee attack no longer deals reduced melee damage to bosses, mini bosses, and champions. Oh, nice. Winter Bite now receives melee damage bonuses from a variety of sources. Reduce enhanced melee damage with ammo to plus 20% versus bosses, down from 50%. Why? Bungie, you don't like this Winter Biting? Does Bungie not like Winter Bites? I think Winter Bite's kind of hot. Well, no. That's a straight up nerf. Remember, you do more melee damage with Winter Bites when you have ammo. I think Bungie is scared. Y'all remember when we were like one-tapping bosses after Lifehaul Winter Bite? That shit was so much fun. I had such a good time. Dude, the damage was insane, brother. Insane. That's why they nerfed it. Exotic armor tuning preview. We mentioned a bunch of exotic armor pieces in the previous sections, so it felt natural to go over the other exotics that are changing with the Edge of Fate. Mini buffs and reworks here and there, and just a few minor nerfs to keep things balanced and interesting. All right. Hunter, the Dragon Shadow, and it has long felt weird how similar the Dragon Shadow and Speed Loader Slacks are in their effects, with both centered on dodging to get stats. To alleviate some of this weirdness, the Dragon Shadow has gained many of these stats and had its perks updated to fit better with a new suite of player stats. So the Dragon Shadow now passively increases weapon stability and ready speed. Dodging reloads your equipped weapons, no longer reloads holster weapons. Activating your dodge ability grants the following effects for a short time: increased stability and handling, increased move speed, increased sprint, slide, ADS strafe speed, increased class stats. Good God almighty, dude. I hope you see what your PvP meta is about to be. Now, Speed Loader Slacks. With these bonuses given away, we took a more PvE-oriented approach to Speed Loader Slacks, allowing hunters to be able to provide a benefit akin to Lunafaction boosts to their allies to be able to carry around during higher-end content. So Speed Loader Slacks adjusted the Tight Fit perk. Dodging reloads all weapons and grants increased handling and reload speed for you and nearby allies. What the f did I just read? Dodging reloads all weapons and grants increased handling and reload speed for you and nearby allies. While this buff is active, additional dodges increases the strength of the buff and refreshes the timer. Dealing sustained damage grants class ability energy. So essentially, guys, Dragon Shadow is the ultimate PvP exotic. A lot of what was in Speed Loader has been deprecated into Dragon Shadow. Speed Loader Slacks, they've done this before with other exotics, has now become the ultimate support exotic for PvE players. Dodging reloads all weapons and grants increased handling and reload speed for you and nearby allies. The main thing is this. When you dodge... Hold on. Am I understanding this right? Dodging reloads all weapons and grants increased... Okay. When you dodge, you're going to reload the weapons for your allies? No. Oh my God. I got way ahead of myself. Dodging reloads all weapons and grants increased handling and reload speed for you and nearby allies. Oh, shit, dude. That was going to be crazy. Just for yourself. Man, I was about to be... Okay, all right. That's like some OG rally barricade right there. Oh, yeah. We got carried away. I'm sorry. While this buff is active, additional dodge increase. Okay, that's all right. Mask of Backers. Mask of Backers has always been an evocative and visually fun exotic, but largely is used as a PvP tool. We made some changes to let you play into the Fallen Captain fantasy even more so in PvE, while also pairing well with the new stats. It's also now usable on arc subclasses and supers. Mask of Backers effects are now active when either an arc or stasis super is equipped. Dude, that is crazy, brother. Do you know what you could do with this now? With it being able to be on arc now too? How's this going to stack with Ascension? Reworked Light Shift no longer provides a non-stacking surge damage bonus. Now grants plus 10% damage for eligible weapons, stasis weapons, arc weapons, and Lord of Wolves per stack. Stacks up to 3 times. While active, weapon final blows grant class ability energy. I like that. Okay. All right. The main thing is this is all cool, I guess. You know what I mean? Some of these changes kind of roll back in some way. But this right here, working with arc and stasis, super fantastic. Capri Sting. Capri Sting has been fairly niche PvP exotic for some time, so we wanted to rework it to something a bit more broadly useful and with more build crafting hooks. Capri Sting removed automatic smoke bomb activation when using a melee attack. Remove true sight when dealing damage with the smoke bomb. Added, killing weakened targets creates a burst of weakening smoke and returns smoke bomb energy. So what would we do? Would we do like, oh shit. So if you're rocking like a Withering Gaze Exalted Truth, you aim down sights, you proc the weaken, you get the kill, you turn around, you create a burst of weakening smoke, and you return smoke bomb energy. And I guess you could utilize it with probably on the prowl and some other things too. This seems like a change I would utilize inside of maybe PvE, as much as like I know Capri Sting has been looked at for PvP. All right, Oath Keepers. Oath Keepers have not been quite worth the time investment to overdraw for the damage bonus, so we tuned that a bit for some better ease of use and higher potential payout of damage. So Oath Keepers increased maximum damage bonus from 150 to 200%. Now provides more of the total damage bonus earlier in the overdraw. Oh, I like that. All right. Oath Keepers is pretty nice, guys. It really is, man. And look. Here's the thing about Oath Keepers. When we paired it with Leviathans, I think Leviathan's Breath couldn't get the full damage bonus, if I remember correctly. So we need to go back and see, like, I can't remember exactly, but there was some issues with its synergy. All right, Blight Ranger. Oh, God. Blight Rangers had a rough time, with previous balance changes failing to hit the mark. Despite that, we believe that its most recent rework established a playstyle that fits the fantasy of the exotic. However, its cancellation effect still didn't feel worth the investment, especially due to the challenging bug with how its damage scaled. So we've given it a bit of extra juice. Actually, a lot of extra juice. Oh my God, please. Blight Ranger fixed an issue where cancellation damage was not consistently scaling based on voltaic mirror progress. Adjusted voltaic mirror meter behavior. Now requires 25% less reflections to reach maximum. Feels more evenly. Blocked melee attacks now count as a reflection. Dude, we're going to end up KOing bosses. Y'all know that? We're going to end up KOing bosses that stomp attack over and over. Thank God, dude. Maximum cancellation damage increased by 50%. This is in addition to the fix above. Minimum cancellation damage increased by 150%. Now always applies blind before dealing damage. Updated visuals, audio, timing of the blind shockwave to better reflect its impact. Look, man. Look, we've got a short out there, a clip where we essentially blocked Greg's attack. You know, Greg that does the eye blast. And we did so much damage. There is a world. I want to see this world where a hunter solos a dungeon with Blight Ranger. I don't know what it is. I just love the play style. To pop your super and block everything and kill bosses with their own attack. Titan, Crest of Alpha Looping. Over the past year, we've seen a lot of love when it comes to the new additions of things like the support frame autos. With the Edge of Fate, we took a look at some of the other clearly supported oriented exotics that aren't as popular to give them a leg up to modern sandbox standards. Starting with Crest of Alpha Looping, we wanted to keep its subclass agnostic, while letting it feel like the one-stop shop for the support Titan fantasy. So Crest of Alpha Lupi added additional effects. Sustained damage while behind a barricade triggers another smaller healing pulse. Healing your allies grants barricade energy. Oh, dude, that is going to be wild. Depending on how much health we get, though. But that could be wild, dude. For just like sustained damage. Like imagine if you drop like, I don't know, like an aerial denial frame shot, you're accumulating bolt charge stacks and you're healing yourself while just peppering the enemy. Gonna be hot, dude. Gonna be hot. And you'll be able to stay alive. Phoenix Cradle. The next clear option was Phoenix Cradle. There's a lot of ways to generate sunspots, but it always felt like you couldn't create them where you wanted to maximize the effects of Phoenix Cradle. So we tackled that while also hitting on a very common piece of feedback when it comes to your cradle-enabled sunspot visuals. So Phoenix Cradle updated VFX on sunspots while the user has Phoenix Cradle to look more clearly supportive to allies. Added additional effects, dealing sustained solar weapon damage in a sunspot extends its duration. Providing solar buffs to allies has the chance to create a sunspot at your feet. Really? Hot damn. Yo, we could utilize that inside of PvP. Dude, Phoenix Cradle, I'm sure most of you forgot that exotic even existed. MK44 Stanicides. Stanicides. Ironically left in the dust. This exotic lost its role with the introduction of Juggernaut and other changes that made the melee refund less valuable. We removed the melee energy refund on shoulder charge hits and overshield while sprinting. These were replaced by more arc-centric perks that turned you and your allies into an unstoppable force. So 44 Stanicides. Sprinting with Juggernaut active periodically grants you a stack of static charge. Sprinting while amplified creates an area behind you that grants allies speed booster. Wow. All right. Is this about to be like the speed running exotic? Interesting. And then Path of Burning Steps. We liked how Path of Burning Steps played in Season of the Wish before the previous changes to this exotic. To return it to its glory days, gleefully frolicking with Polaris Lance, we added back some of its bonus damage by tying it to Roaring Flames. Oh, dude, let me just say this. Polaris Lance is going to be really good next season. Path of Burning Steps. Increase solar weapon damage and solar ignition damage based on the number of stacks of Roaring Flames you have. Roaring Flames times 1, times 2, and times 3 grants a 10, 15, and 20% bonus solar weapon damage and 5, 10, 50% bonus ignition damage. Stacks with surge mods. Reduce the duration of suspend, slow, and freeze effects applied to you. Back on the menu, fellas. Dude, based on the artifact mods we've seen, Polaris Lance, ignition damage, and now with Path of Burning Steps is going to be so good. Avian Leap. Avian Leap remains a potent choice, but we wanted to add a small nudge in efficacy that won't overtune the whole suspend kit. So Avian Leap now increases the duration of suspend applied by enhanced Dringer's Lashes. Okay. Now, Acting War Rig. These changes to Acting War Rig go along well with the new weapon stats, giving you the option of building your loadout around the exotic to keep its new kill streak bonus rolling. Think Wormgun Caress for auto rifles and machine guns. Wormgun Caress. No way. Acting War Rig. Auto rifle or machine gun final blows increases their stability, ammo generation, and damage. Stacks up to 10 times. Higher stack counts expire more quickly. Hi. Damn. Dude. It's not just sweet business. Do you know how many weapons we'll be able to take advantage with this? Look, it's auto rifles or machine gun stuff. Thunderlord. I'm thinking like Quicksilver as well thrown into this loop. Oh my God. I didn't even think about Acquire. Now, Spirit of Alpha Lupi. Spirit of Alpha Lupi is also going to be inheriting one of the above changes to Crest of Alpha Lupi. Stoicism. Spirit of Alpha Lupi added healing your allies grants class ability energy. Okay. I mean, you could utilize this with a support role, like a support auto. You know what I mean? All right, Warlock, Starfire Protocol. Empowering damage, as it's been written on Starfire Protocol, has always felt pretty confusing. With a new world of stats, we figured it was high time to clear up this confusion and give this exotic a well-deserved boost. Okay, Starfire Protocol now also activates on radiant damage. Increase the fusion grenade energy gain from dealing damage from 2.5 to 5%. Reduce fusion grenade energy gain from final blows from 20% to 15%. Hold on. Increase fusion grenade energy gain from dealing damage to 2.5 to 5%. Activates on radiant damage. So any radiant damage. Reduce fusion grenade energy gain from final blows from 20 to 15%. That's the day one build. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves. Okay, I mean, like back in the day, fusion grenade energy gain from final blows was 100%, everybody. 100. A single empowered fusion grenade final blow would give you back 100%. The main thing is this, like now also activates on radiant damage. I would have to look at this. You get less for kills. Hold on, no, guys. Don't write this off. Now also activates on radiant damage. Well, you have to look at it. and increase the fusion grenade energy gain from dealing damage to 2.5. We got to look at it. All right, Wings of Sacred Dawn. With the release of other items in the game, such as the Manicore SMG, we've seen some gripes when it comes to exotics that ask the player to survive while airborne. So to give some help to Wings of Sacred Dawn, we've taken a look at just that. So Wings of Sacred Dawn, combatants are less accurate towards you while Tome of Dawn is active. This is similar to Manicore's effect. While the Solar Super is equipped, Solar Weapon Final Blows now grant restoration and reload your stowed weapons. Okay, that's nice. Fellwinter's Helmets. For many exotics, it's been hard to keep up with the difficulty progression of activities, oftentimes leading to them being great on power or lower content, but extremely feast, famine, and high difficulty activities. For weapons, we can usually help remedy this with on-sustained damage effects. In the case of armor, like Fellwinter's Helmet, an equivalent on hit. Fellwinter's Helmet. Added power melee damage weakens targets. Applies at 50% weaken. Weaken effects apply by the burst via melee or finisher final blows or unchanged. Okay, so just the power melee damage will weaken a target without you actually having to get a kill. Prometheum Spur. In a world with so many Rift exotics, it's always been hard to make a combo Rift feel truly good for how many hoops is asked for you to jump through. So with this pass, we've looked at an alternative approach to the combo Rift that will also let players hook into other atoms on the solar subclass to allow for more versatile benefits. So Prometheum Spurs rework the perk Embers of Light. While the Solar Super is equipped, weapon defeats grant class ability energy, and weapon defeats in a Rift grants different solar verb depending on the Rift. While in a healing Rift, weapon defeats create a pulse that grants radiant to you and nearby allies. While in an empowering Rift, weapon defeats instead grant cure to you and nearby allies. Okay, Bungie really wants us to use solar. Now, Boots of the Assembler. Currently, Speaker Sight largely outclasses Boots of the Assembler. Speaker Sight is similarly potent at healing allies, produces orbs to power your build, and doesn't require you to stand in a rift to get benefits. Plus, Boots of the Assembler and Noble Seekers are just not that smart. So we sent them to college. They now target allies more reliably, spread their healing out much more efficiently, and give a more flexible benefit when they find an ally. So Boots of the Assembler, Noble Seekers no longer spawn in waves and instead spawn at a constant rate based on the fire team's size. Average number of Noble Seekers produced per 8 seconds is unchanged. It will reduce 1 per ally in that time period. Noble Seekers tracking range changed to 40 meters, always from 20 to 40 meters based on the time alive. Damn. Noble Seekers will prioritize allies who have not been healed in the last 8 seconds. Noble Seekers can now target allies standing in a rift, producing them. Noble Seekers will not target an ally more than once every 4 seconds. Noble Seekers will not detonate when passing near an ally that they are not targeting. They will now detonate if they make direct impact with an ally they are not targeting. Oh, they'll still detonate if they make direct impact. Okay. No longer grants extended rift duration on Noble Seeker impacts with allies. Instead, grants class ability energy on Noble Seeker impacts with allies. Scales based on the fire team size. Look, can I just say this? You could be a terrible player in Destiny, but if you rock Boots of the Assembler and Lumina and Noble rounds, you've got my love. I'm straight up, dude. This goes for PvE and PvP. If you rock those things, you have my love. All right, Geomax Stabilizers. We enjoyed watching players shoot out beams of concentrated arc energy just as much as you all did generating them. But with the launch of the Edge of Fate, we are limiting some of that unlimited power. To compensate, we took a pass at retuning its sprinting for bolt charge. Geomax Stabilizers reduce super energy granted bionic traces to 4% from 7%. Retune sprinting to top off bolt charge. Decrease bolt charge stacks required before sprinting will grant additional stacks from 6 to 5. Decrease the amount of time required for sprinting to start granting bolt charge from 2 seconds to 1. Increase the rate bolt charge is granted while this effect is active from 1 every 1.5 seconds to 1 every 0.33 seconds. All right. I mean, this is the big one. That's the big one. I will say, and we had a lot of things contributing to ARC this season, so it's you know, there was a lot of benefits here happening. The main takeaway is this: it's like with Geomax, you were able to get your super once every 30 seconds, maybe even less. I think it's still going to be good. I think it's still going to be good, guys. Does this hurt up here? Does this top one especially hurt? Sure, but I think it's still going to be good. Now, the Final Shape Bungie rewards. We're almost at the end of the Final Shape year, but it's never too late to jump into the game, fight against the Hordes of Darkness, to defeat one of our biggest foes yet. Same thing for the year of content after the expansion. All content is unlocked for Episode Echoes, Revenant, and Heresy for players with the corresponding seasonal passes. As we approach the launch of the Edge of Fate, many of the Bungie rewards available that require a Triumph unlock during this year won't be available anymore. So take this as an opportunity not only to earn them, but also to complete your journey. Check out some of the greatest hits of the year below. Yes. All right. We got known issues, everybody. And then I fired final note from Bungie here at the end. And with that, this tweet is over. Hope you found all those changes coming to your melee builds and exotic armor pieces interesting. We're pretty sure some of you have already started theorizing about the new builds and combos that would be most fun to play with when the Edge of Fate launches. Let us know what you got the most excited. Let us know what got you the most excited. Let us know what got you the most excited. The Destiny 2 community team. This has been a roller coaster of a TWAB. I'm not gonna lie, guys. It started off pretty rough. At the beginning, I literally thought the worst. I thought Bungie was just screwing us. Like, I really thought Bungie was just screwing us. I thought Bungie was about to give value to their 200 stat system by destroying our current builds and our current melee damage. But I gotta say, man, then things changed. And as we got further and further into this, starting here, things changed and got a lot better, dude. Just screwing warlocks, you're fine, warlocks. That's not your job anyways. Hunters and Titans, and really everybody, but Hunters and Titans especially, are going to be doing a hell of a lot more damage with our melee-based builds. And I'm excited. We did the math. Aztecross is still less damage after the changes. Who the fuck is we? Huh? You did the math? Run the numbers. Run the numbers. You know, and that's the... Hold on. On a real note. On a real note. He could be right. And that's the other thing, man. We will need to run the numbers on this. Everything here, big number values, big jumps. But it's additive. It's not multiplicative. There's gonna be some definite nerfs here. So we'll have to look. We'll run the numbers. And more importantly than that, pre-post testing. And I wish we had the damage range right now to go and actually do the testing, but we don't. It is coming day 1 of Edge of Fate. But that means we will have to collect pre-values at Carl and Greg, and then we're also gonna have to test them in post at Carl and Greg. But after that point, everything will be done via the testing range. Did melee builds need more? Tired of consecration, slide, warlock, or counter? Well, here's the thing, man. I think that, for instance, like Fletched Storm, that's going to be doing a lot better. Bonk is making a return. Wishful Ignorance with Fletched Storm going to be really, really good. You know, Ascension working with Bacchus and stuff like that. Like, dude, these are all like fun things. So yeah, Consecration is getting a big nerf. We know that. The rest of this stuff, I'm all for. Melees might get old though. They don't use it. What is wrong with y'all? Just don't use it. Just don't use it. What do you want me to tell you? Oh no, good builds. Well, just don't use it. Go fucking use your guns. No one is putting a gun to your head and telling you you gotta use a melee-based build. I will say this. Variety's important. So Bungie, you're gonna have to keep going, baby. You're gonna have to keep going. Show us some good grenade-based builds. Don't nerf our super damage. Don't nerf some of our origin trades. I'm scared to death that time loss origin trade is gonna get a nerf. TWAB? Whoa, what's going on here, people? What happened? I think this is a great TWAB. Thank God. We needed something in this community. Hot damn. If I had to read another TWAB about Rite of the Nines, which is how this one started, but thank God we had some other stuff to talk about. For Warlocks, it's an L. Oh, let me know. You know what? Guys, I don't know what to tell you. You know what I mean? Make a Titan. Make a Hunter. Not everything's supposed to be for you guys. This is wrong with Warlocks, man. Hey, do you think everything needs to be for you all the time? You know what I'm saying? I promise you guys, Warlocks, you're going to be eating very good. Half of the sandbox team is Warlocks. All right, if you don't think Warlocks are going to have a bunch of great changes coming your way, trust me, you guys are going to be fine. You will have the ability to rock some very one-dimensional, brainless playstyles and profit throughout Edge of Fate. And who knows, maybe Starfire makes a return here, right? Now activates off of radiant damage. I mean, seriously, Starfire may make a comeback on this one. One-dimensional like Storm's Keep. Hey, man. Why are you attacking us right now? You know what I'm saying? Let me say, if you had Storm's Keep, would you not use it? Would you unequip it and be like, no, this is beneath me? All right, that's it, guys. Good TWAB. Not bad, Bungie. This is a good start, but don't fuck this up. We got 3 more weeks. What do we have, 4 more weeks? 4 more weeks. We got 4 more weeks. 3 more weeks. 4 more weeks. 4 more TWABs. 4 or 5, something like that. Bungie, every time you talk, it needs to be consistent, good shit coming out of your mouth every single time. I need to start by next Tuesday when the stream goes live from you guys. I need to be fully erect from then until July the 15th, and you need to maintain that all the way through.
Slap that like button like your mama told you right.